Welcome, everyone. We'll get back to these notes in just a few minutes. I'm going to share my screen here. Going to wait just a few moments, see if we have some other folks join us. Yeah. All right. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see that, Dean? Let's see if I can move that. Oh, yeah. Hello, Sneaky Pierre. Glad you could be here. We'll get started here in just a moment. I'm sharing my screen because I don't actually own any of the high denomination obsoletes, so I scoured eBay and Heritage auction records to find us some pretty notes to look at. And at the end, I have a couple of C notes to share with you. So there's convict currency. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. All right. Let's move forward here. Let's start with this first note from the Bank of Louisiana. It's a $500 note. Let's scroll up just a little bit so you can see the entire note. Now, one good thing I like about this note is it's an issued note. It's signed, dated, and numbered. Let's remember, issued notes are generally better than remainders as far as value. And of course, proof notes are absolutely the best, are better than any of them. So, and I should say before I go any further, tonight's subject was suggested by the viewer BLK Crypto. So a shout out to him. He suggested a video on high denomination obsoletes. So this is for you. And thank you for that suggestion. Love the ships on this note. Again, an issued note. Let me scroll down here. And these notes from Louisiana all have backs on them, which is not something you usually see on obsoletes. You're asking, did that sell? I believe this is one that's actually on eBay at the moment. It's actually for sale. So I don't think it's sold yet. Here is a canal, and I put a few notes to myself here on the screen. Just a second. That's Charity and Liberty hanging out in the central vignette. I really like this note. Canal Citizens Bank both have a lot of remainders, and so they're not too hard to notes from these banks, even the high denominations. Well, you're right. You don't see a lot of them, Sneaky Pierre, but you can find them. If you go out on eBay or check the auctions, there's almost always one or two out there. So let's go down a little bit more. Here's the back of that 1,000. And you see there, I made a note to myself, $1,000 in 1855 is equal to almost 40,000 today. I'll be honest, that seems a little low to me, but anyway, that's what the calculator said. Hello, Big Apple. Glad you could join us. To move on to the next note. Oh, this is an uncut sheet. Now, this is the 500 and 1,000 from the Canal Bank. This sheet actually sold for less than $400, And I think part of the reason for that is you can tell the paper is toned. But for me personally, that really wouldn't matter. Um, to get them an uncut sheet of them, I think is pretty cool. But this is the type of thing you can find out there in the marketplace. Like I said, these backs like this very often. Now, here we're coming up to a $500 bill from the Bank of the United States. Now, this is from 1840, and so really what this is, by then, the Bank of the United States was actually a state bank in Pennsylvania because the real Bank of the United States had ended a few years earlier. So they sort of rechartered as a state bank. And as you can read on this note, this really is sort of like a bond because it talks about interest and so many months it'll pay the bearer. I like all of the famous Americans on it. On the left, you've got David Rittenhouse, William Penn, and Thomas Paine. And on the right, starting at the top down, Robert Fulton, Benjamin Franklin, and Robert Morris. So you see the same gentleman on the $1,000 note as well. And again, this was an issued note. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, this was an actual $1,000 bill that was issued in 1840. Now, I can't imagine that too many people, excuse me, got a dry throat. I don't imagine too many people carried these around in their pockets. These were probably, and this is just a guess, but most likely were payments between banks. But they're still awfully cool. Oops, a little too fast here. Now, this $1,000 bill is from the City Bank of New Orleans. Excuse me. This is a pretty rare note. I think the rarity scale on this one is 3, which means there's only 3 or 4 of these known. But again, an issued note from 1846. Now, the vignette on this $1,000 note from the Planters and Mechanics Bank of Columbus, Georgia is titled Mercury Delivers Coins. Now, take a look at that because you will see that vignette on several notes as we go along. I like the arm and hammer too down here at the bottom, right in the center bottom. That's pretty cool. It's the same vignette on the Morris Canal and Banking. This one, I believe, is from city of New York. So Big Apple, that's your backyard. I like up here, if you look, the center vignette, either to the right or the left, it says interest 10 cents a day, $36.50 a year. So it tells you right on the note how much interest it earns. I think that's really cool. And just below it, a $3,000 note from the same bank. That's one of the things about obsoletes. You'll find $2,000 notes, $3,000 notes. You'll find all kind of odd denominations, even in the high denominations. So I like that. I want to thank everybody again for being here. I really appreciate it as we take a look at some high denomination obsolete notes. And stick around to the end where I'll show you a couple of notes that I do own. This is a nice note from the Continental Bank of New York. I'm not sure what that vignette is over on the left. I guess that's maybe Cornwallis surrendering to Washington, something like that. But I like it. It's a beautiful, beautiful note. I believe this is a proof as well. There are some proofs mixed in here. Now here's one, another Bank of the United States, but I included this because it was a $5,000 note. Can you imagine $5,000? Like in 1840? It's really, really amazing. Here's my favorite one for tonight. Is that not a beautiful note from Pennsylvania at $1,000? Bank of Pennsylvania. I like the horses and the shield and the eagle. That's the Pennsylvania state seal, I believe. Really, really beautiful note. Okay, that is a proof note. I'd love to find one of those that's had been circulated. Here's a bank in Boston. I like the eagle on that one. Oh, I know why I included this. It's another circulated note. I thought that was very, very interesting. Now, you can tell by the print on this, this is a very old printing. This note was issued in 1836, but it has a sort of 1820s look to it to me. Very early printing. But I like it. This is what? Lafayette Bank of Boston. Again, another issued note. Very, very cool note. Now, this one's issued by a railroad, Louisville, Cincinnati, and Charleston Railroad. Um, this looks like a remainder. Again, very, very early note. A lot of folks said they didn't realize, that high denomination obsoletes existed, but they actually do. So let's see. We've got a few more here. This is Exchange Bank. I thought this was real pretty with the ship and also the sailor over there on the lower right. I don't know the gentleman in the portrait, but he seems happy to be there. And this is a proof, but a really, really pretty note. Here's one from Memphis, Tennessee, Farmers and Merchants Bank. I think I have a $5 bill maybe from this bank as well, but certainly not a $1,000 bill. And here, if you remember, Mercury delivers coins. This is another sort of take on that same vignette right in the center. I think anyway. But I like it with the ships. Here's a Brooklyn, New York note, the Atlantic Bank, $1,000. Looks like Poseidon in one of those vignettes. And again, over on the right, you have Mercury delivering coins, and you got the griffin in the background and everything. That's cool. I urge you, if you decide to buy something like this, to do your homework. Like I said, prices are all over the place. I've seen, the same notes for $400 or $500. Somebody else wants 800. Somebody else wants 1,100. So you do have to shop around. And of course, grade and eye appeal is everything. Speaking of eye appeal, is that not a pretty note? The Park Bank of New York, like the sailor and the ships. A lot of nautical themes tonight. Here's a $5,000 bill from the Leather Manufacturers Bank of New York. I think we're about at the end of these. Yeah, I had to include one from South Carolina, even though this is script. This is not a denomination you see much down here, a $5,000 revenue bond script. So you don't see this very often. Not very pretty, but pretty rare, pretty rare. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and Go back to live here. I'll use this next. Let's talk about this one first. Now, I don't know any $1,000 bills or 500s, at least not yet, but it's a $100 bill I picked up, Bank of the State of South Carolina. This one has no overprint. You usually see them with the red 100 printed over it. It's one of the reasons I chose this one. Try to get up close here so you can see some of the detail. This is a very busy note. Get the detail in that. I also made 50s that were very almost over engraved. This one's dated 1858. Sometimes you find these have been cut in half, right in the middle, and reattached. I was told that one of the reasons they did that is when they were traveling, they would cut their money in half and mail half of it to their destination and keep the other half with them in case they were robbed. The banks would not, if the money was stolen, the thief could not get the gold or the silver for the note because they only had half of it. They had to have over half for the bank to honor it. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but makes a good story anyway. All right, let's take a look at this. This note, Exchange Bank of Columbia, with the three graces and a cherub there in the center. This is why you keep your eyes open on eBay. This is a pretty rare note. There are, I think, less than 10 of these notes known, and I was able to get this one off of eBay for a very, very fair price. In fact, I got it for less than $100. So I was very happy to get it. Yeah, it's beat up, but I don't care. It's still a rare note and a local note. So that was always good to find. I hope all of you are doing well. Again, I thank you for being here. And please share these videos with a friend. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for stopping by.